You know, when I was growing up, being a Acadian Métis individual, I was always fascinated by the great Aboriginal players that came in the NHL in the 70s and 80s. There was a whole bunch. But this guy stood out for obvious reasons because not only was he effective in the WHA, he eventually played with Colorado and Vancouver as one of the toughest right wingers. Also played center in the NHL and WHA. The native of North Battleford, Saskatchewan, who was part of the Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame, well deserved. The man they called Chief with the fist of fury. It's on the internet, seeing Ron's best fights. Ron Delorme. Now, Ronald Elmer Chief Delorme. He's currently the main amateur scout for the Vancouver Canucks of the NHL, helping develop many Canuck players over the years. Delorme played in the NHL for the Rockies and the Canucks, and the WHA for the Denver Spurs Ottawa Civics franchise. Born in North Battleford, he grew up in Cochin, Saskatchewan. Though Delorme retired from the NHL in '85, he has remained on Vancouver's Canucks staff for over 20 years as a scout and was appointed chief amateur scout in 2000. Now, he is a Canadian Métis. As a Cree man, he was instrumental in breaking barriers for Indigenous people in pro sport and continues to inspire Indigenous youth to participate in sport by visiting First Nations and sharing his story. Now, he first came to major province with Prince Albert of the SJHL in '73, where he had 36 points in 45 games. Now, with Swift Current in '74, put up 34 points in 59 games. But when he skated with Lethbridge, in probably the most prominent season that Lethbridge had in the '70s, he had 87 points in 69 games. Now, 6'2", 182. At the time, he was playing some center as well. He played on a line with the great Terry Ruskowski and Tiger Williams for Swift Current in '74. We unofficially call him the battling line. Was on a Swift Current team that did relocate to Lethbridge prior to the '75 season. Now, he debuted in the NHL on February 1st, '77 against the Rangers. And although he never won a Stanley Cup, he helped Vancouver get to the '82 finals. He did retire in '85. Put up some impressive numbers, ladies and gentlemen. He had 83 goals in 524 games with 83 assists and 667 minutes in penalties. None of them were wasted. He wasn't a dirty player, but you didn't want to push him. Now, he had 59 penalty minutes in 25 postseason contests and helped Colorado get to the playoffs in the '78 campaign. Now, he did make it to the finals in '94 for Vancouver as a scout. He led Colorado in playoff minutes in '78 with 10. And again, he was named Vancouver's amateur scout prior to the '87 season and remained there until August 2020 when he got the promotion. Now, he was also part of the Kansas City Scouts team when the squad relocated to Colorado on July 15, '76. Unfortunately, a rough knee injury in March of 1980 cut in that campaign. He also missed part of the '81 season with a separated shoulder, an injury suffered during a game against Boston in January of that year. Now, strained knee ligaments again, injury suffered during Vancouver's October 14, '82 game again at Boston. Now, his knees were bad in the '85 season, had a big collision with Jamie McCowan, his old nemesis from Calgary, and the injury ended both his season and his career. His knees couldn't take it anymore. Now, he did play in Tucson of the CHL and also with Denver, Ottawa of the WHA. Went back to Lethbridge for a little while, played with Baltimore of the SHL and Tulsa of the CHL. Now, he was drafted by Denver at 34 overall in round 3 in '75, and also was on the Denver WHA team that relocated to Ottawa on January 2nd. Now, he also was on the Ottawa team that folded on January 17, '76, decided to return to Lethbridge and play as an overage junior for the remainder of the '76 season, which I think is very unique in WHA history. Was playing for Baltimore when the SHL folded on January 31st, '77. Again, he has been active in First Nation causes throughout his career, including founding the Aboriginal Role Model Hockey School. Now, unfortunately, Colorado made a big mistake. They left Delorme unprotected for the '81 NHL waiver draft, and he was claimed by Vancouver on October 5th, '81. And ironically, ladies and gentlemen, that was the year Vancouver made the final. So we're going to take a rough look at his stats. Now, in '76, it was a weird campaign. He played 26 games with Lethbridge on the way back after the Spurs and Civics had folded. He had 4 points in 22 games for them, and he also played that year with the Tucson Mavericks of the CHL, where he had 7 points in 18 games. 77, he split time between Tulsa, Baltimore, and Colorado. With the Tulsa Oilers, he had 3 points in 6 games. With the Baltimore Clippers of the SHL, he had 10 points in 24 games. And technically, his rookie campaign in the NHL, he had 6 goals and 10 points in 29 contests. Now, 78 for Colorado, he started to open out a little bit more, wasn't spending much time in the sin bin, had a strong 21 points in 68 games, including 10 counters. But 79, his career year, everybody still talks about it, because not too often an Aboriginal player outside of the big squads would do this. He had 20 goals and 28 points in 77 contests in 79. 1980, 19 counters, 4 assists for 23 points. 81, he had 11 goals, 16 assists for 27 points. Now, when he went back to Vancouver, he had a different role. And those 59 games and 82, boys, he's hard on his opponents. He had 177 minutes of penalties in 59 contests, but spent enough time out of the sin bin to get 9 goals and 8 assists. 83, again, the knee problems and injuries, 13 points in 56 games, 87 minutes and penalties. 84, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points, 68 minutes and penalties. 85, his last campaign, again because of the injury, 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points. So career, 524 games played, 83 goals, 146 points, 667 minutes and penalties. And in the postseason, he was in the NHL postseason for 4 campaigns, part of the 82 run. 1 goal, 2 assists, and 3 points. His first and only playoff counter was 1984 for Vancouver. Now, when he was inducted in the Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame, he was one of 8 inductees. Now, this was an important year for the association because it was not only some of the best amateur players, and according to press release, it was Ron Delorme, who was one of 3 players that got in, including that year Haley Wickenheiser. Now, Regina native Bill Hickey, who had passed away in 2005, the great NHLer, was inducted posthumously in the players category. Now, John Kelly Lovering was also inducted posthumously in the builder category. Lyle Wilhelm was inducted in the officials category. Larry Johnson and the late Dennis Lopke were inducted in the grassroots character, and the 88 Notre Dame Hounds, as part of that great franchise, were inducted in the teams category. So if you have a chance to check out the Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame, it's quite the amount of celebrants in there, because like any Hockey Hall of Fame, it covers a whole bunch of stuff. But to see Delorme and Wickenheiser get in the same year, how important they were to women's hockey and Aboriginal hockey. See, Ron Delorme, we took him as a very, very interesting player, because he was always doing something interesting. He was, protecting these players, played a power play, and he had played a game against the Montreal Canadiens, and the Quebec announcer said, "You got to watch that Delorme." He said he's a really, really good player. And as soon as he said that, I think the puck was in the net, or he insisted on somebody else. Ron Delorme, probably one of the most underrated players of the 70s and 80s. You weren't going to get much media coverage playing in Colorado, because that's like, playing hockey on the far side of the moon. But when he played in Colorado, Barry Beck and him and a few other key players, Croteau and all like that, Delorme, and to play with Lanny McDonald, I think really helped his career, because people were learning a lot from Lanny when the short time was in Colorado. So Ron Delorme, in the history of Aboriginal hockey in Canada, one of the most important Cree players, one of the most important Métis ancestry players, and for me, it'll always be remembered that when he played in Montreal, he had his own cheering section, because he wasn't a Frenchman, obviously, but, and it would have been nice there if, too bad he had too many injuries. It was a perfect fit for Vancouver, because there's no pressure playing in Vancouver, because really the media spotlight would have been heavy in Toronto, Montreal, or Detroit, or Boston. But there's a fight against Jamie McCown, I could be wrong. I think it's like 27 punches he threw in a little more than 40 seconds. It was tremendous. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of the great Ron Delorme. If you like what we're doing here on our Saskatchewan Hockey Legends, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.